Let's start with number 1. So with number 1, we want to factor. What are 2 factors of negative 80 that add to 11?
8 and 10? No.
16 and negative 5. So because we start with x to the 4th power, when we split it up into factors, it's x squared plus 16 and x squared minus 5. So once we factor, we can set them both equal to 0. So x squared plus 16 equals 0. X squared minus 5 equals 0. So x squared equals negative 16 and x squared equals 5. What should we do next? Square root both sides. So x equals what? Plus or minus 4 what? I, because we have a negative under the square root, so that turns into the I, and the square root of 16 is 4, and don't forget, anytime you take the square root of both sides, you need the plus or minus. Let's do the same thing with the other one. We're going to square root both sides, so x equals what? Plus or minus square root 5, perfect. So in the beginning, we knew that we were going to have 4 answers. These are our 4 answers. We have a positive and negative 4i and a positive and negative square root 5. So we have 4 answers total. All right, with number 2, it doesn't factor. So I'm going to change the 4 on the right side to be an 8. I'm changing the question because it doesn't work out. So I'm changing it so it will factor. So just change the 4 to be an 8. Yeah, because I'm the teacher.
Wait, can we do that?
No. Are you the teacher?
No.
So everything on the quiz tomorrow is going to factor. So I needed to change this to make it work out. So I changed the 4 to be an 8. What would we need to do to solve? Bring it all to one side. So I'm going to subtract 5x squared and combine it with its like term. And then I also want to subtract 8. So we have x to the 4th power minus 2x squared minus 8 equals 0. Now this is just like number 1 where we have to factor. What are 2 factors of negative 8 that add to negative 2? So negative 4 and 2. So what are going to go into my factors here? Awesome. X squared minus 4 and x squared plus 2. So then we're going to set both of these equal to 0. So we get x squared minus 4 equals 0. And x squared plus 2 equals 0. So x squared equals 4. And x squared equals negative 2. What would we do next? Square root both sides. So what does x equal? Plus or minus 2. Perfect. And then same thing with the other one. We're going to square root both sides. So what does x equal? Awesome. Plus or minus, I'll put the I out front, so I square root 2. We didn't actually evaluate the square root of 2 because it's not a perfect square. So just leave the square root there. It doesn't matter. Just make sure I's there. You can put it after the square root if you want. But we like to put it in front so it doesn't get confusing that it's under the square root. So these would be our 4 answers. So in the beginning, we knew that since it was x to the 4th power, we're going to have 4 solutions. So I have positive and negative 2, and then positive and negative I square root 2. All right, for questions like 3 and 4, the directions might say find the rational zeros or find the real zeros. That should be a hint that your answers are going to be real numbers. So you want to use last over first. When your answers are going to be real numbers, use last over first. In questions 1 and 2, our answers weren't always real numbers or rational numbers, so we just factored to find the solutions. In 1 and 2, last over first wouldn't work because we don't have real solutions. Except in number 2, it would work to find the positive and negative 2. But to find anything that's not a real solution, you'd have to factor. So let's do number 3. We're looking for real zeros, so we want to do last over first. So what are factors of the last? What are factors of 6? 2 and 3, and 6 and 1. Perfect. Over factors of the first, which would just make it 1, so they're whole numbers. So positive and negative, 2, 3, 6, and 1 are possible solutions. So I'm going to do synthetic division. What's going to go inside the box? Perfect. So our coefficients go inside the box. 1, -2, -5, and 6. What do you want to try first? Sure, let's try 2. I'm going to drop down the 1. And we said let's try 2 first. You can try any one of your possible options. So here I had 2 times 1 was 2. This was 0. 0 times 2 is 0. -5, this would be -10, -4. So it doesn't work because we don't get 0 as our remainder. I did the math wrong. So positive 2 does not work. So let's try something else. What else do you want to try? Sure, we can try 1. So we multiply, we get 1, add -1, multiply -1, add -6, multiply -6. Does 1 work? Yes. So x equals 1. From here, now let's factor. So same thing that we were doing before. We started with x to the 3rd power. Our answer is now going to start with x to the 2nd power minus x minus 6. So x squared minus x minus 6. Once you get down to x squared, you can just factor it like normal. What are 2 factors of -6 that add to -1? -3 and 2. So we have x minus 3 and x plus 2 equals 0. Set them both equal to 0. What do we get for x? X equals 3 and -2. Perfect. So I'm going to add those to my list. We have 1, 3, and -2. So these are 3 solutions. So let's do number 4. So we're going to do factors of our last over factors of the first. What are factors of 16? 1 and 16, 4, 2 and 8. Awesome. So it's plus or minus, so positive and negative of all of these numbers. Over positive or -1, so it just makes these all whole numbers. So we're going to do synthetic division. Inside the box, we have 1, 3, -8, -12, and 16. We're not missing any zeros, so we don't need to put a 0 in any spot. What do you want to try first here? You said 2? Sure, let's try 2. So drop down the 1, multiply, we get 2. Add 5, multiply 10. Add, we get 2. 4. This would be -8, -16. Does it work? Yes, it works. So it works when you get a remainder of 0. So 2 is going to be one of our solutions. But from here, since we start with x to the 4th power, how many answers do we have left to find? This is going to be x to the 3rd because we have 3 answers left. So we can't just factor it from here. What do we have to do? We're going to do our last over first again. But these numbers are now going to go in the box. We have 1, 5, 2, -8. We do it until we get down to x squared, and then we can factor. Our last now is -8, so that takes out 16 as one of our options. But we have all the other numbers are the same possible solution. So what do you want to try next? What did you say? Sure, let's try 4. So we're going to drop down the 1, multiply, we get 4, add 9, multiply 36, add 38. It's going to be too big. So 4 is too big. So once you realize it doesn't work, try something else. What do you want to try next?
1.
Let's try 1. Multiply, we get 1, add 6, multiply 6, add 8, multiply 8, add 0. Does it work? Yes, bless you. So we're going to add 1 to our solution list. From here, now that it's 1 less, this is going to be x squared plus 6x plus 8. So let's factor this. What are 2 factors of 8 that add to 6? 4 and 2. So we have x plus 4 and x plus 2. So what would x equal? X equals -4 and -2. So -4 and -2. So these are 4 solutions. So how would I write this in factored form? X minus 6, x plus 3, x minus 1, and x plus 4. Perfect. You always change the sign of the number. So it's x minus the number, so it just flips the sign of it. So this is factored form. Next, we want to multiply it all together. So we can only multiply 2 at a time, so let's start with the first 2. So we're going to FOIL these together. So we get x squared plus 3x minus 6x minus 18. When we combine like terms, we get x squared minus 3x minus 18. Now we're going to do the same thing with the second 2. We're going to FOIL these 2 together. So we get x squared plus 4x minus x minus 4. When we combine like terms, it would be x squared plus 3x minus 4. Now we need to FOIL these 2 together. So it's a little bit more than just FOILing because we have 3 terms in each. Just make sure that every term in the first set of parentheses gets multiplied to every term in the second. So starting with x squared. What's x squared times x squared? X to the 4th power. Then x squared times 3x would be 3x to the 3rd power. And x squared times -4 would be -4x squared. Then we're going to do the same thing with the -3x. So -3x times x squared would be -3x to the 3rd power. -3x times 3x would be -9x squared. And -3x times -4 would be positive 12x. And now let's do -18. So -18 times x squared would be -18x squared. -18 times 3x. Awesome, -54x. And -18 times -4. 72, perfect, positive 72. If you can't do that in your head, write it down. 18 times 4. 8 times 4 is 32. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 would be 7. 72. What should we do next? Combine like terms. We start with x to the 4th power. Then we combine our x to the 3rd powers. So what's 3x to the 3rd power minus 3x to the 3rd power? They cancel, so they go away. Now we have -4x squared minus 9x squared would be -13x squared minus 18x squared. What's -13 minus 18? -31 x squared. Then we have our x's. What's 12x minus 54x? -42x, and then plus 72. So this would be our answer. How would we write the fraction in factored form? Awesome, 5x plus 1. So same thing, you still change the sign, but the denominator is going to move in front of the x. So you don't want to work this out with fractions. Whatever your denominator is goes in front of the x. So your fractions are going to go away. What would our next factored form be? X minus 2. And then? What's the last one? 4x minus 3. All right, from here, let's FOIL this out. So we're going to multiply the first two together. 5x times x is 5x squared. 5x times negative 2. Negative 10x. 1 times x. X. And 1 times negative 2. Negative 2. Let's combine our like terms. So 5x squared minus 9x minus 2. Then we're going to take our answer here and we're going to multiply the third one to it. So we're going to FOIL 4x minus 3 to this. So when we multiply these, what's 5x squared times 4x? 20x cubed. 5x squared times negative 3. Negative 15x squared. Then we're going to take the negative 9. Negative 9x times 4x. Negative 36x squared. Negative 9x times negative 3. 27x. Lastly, negative 2 times 4x would be negative 8x. Negative 2 times negative 3 is 6. Very last step, let's combine our like terms. We get 20x cubed. What's negative 15x squared minus 36x squared? Negative 51x squared. Then what's 27x minus 8x? So plus 19x and then plus 6. So this is our answer. So I changed the question for this one. I just took off that fourth one because you're going to have one on the quiz that will have 4 answers to start. You'll have another one that has 3 answers to start. So I just wanted to practice both of them. 6 questions on the quiz.